As a company, Generac continuously seeks to increase their productivity and efficiency, and the implementation of their new custom product development release and configuration management process in Windchill certainly continued that trend. Like many of you are aware, simply implementing a new tool or process alone does not ensure the acceptance or its successful use. The Generac management team knew that they needed to share the reasons behind the change, explain how it was going to be different, and of course teach the new product development, release, and configuration process. The ultimate learning solution also needed to allow students to practice the newly learned skills and have evaluations throughout to ensure content was truly being understood before the new process went live for all of the users inside of Windchill. Training needed to be completed by Generac's 850 users across multiple locations over about a 3-week period. So they recognized that the logistics and the cost associated with instructor-led training sessions was just not going to be feasible. It was apparent from the beginning of the project that Generac had done a fantastic job documenting their new process, and our job was basically to leverage those documents to help create precise, easy-to-follow content that was going to be ordered logically and structured into effective modules and topics. The learning solution was broken down into multiple topics, and it allowed each user to train with content that was relevant to their specific role. Keeping this focus on what a learner needs to know is actually an important aspect of instructional design. So it really allowed us to focus the learning experience for the user. All imagery that was presented to the learners was all relevant and consistent with exactly what they would see when the system went live and when they were back on their jobs. And finally, like any great training experience, the learner had to remain engaged to get the most out of the training event. And when that event is online, you must be creative to continually maintain that engagement. Our solution for Generac ultimately was a completely customized interactive learning experience. The image here shown on the right is a simple screen capture from that solution. On the left-hand side of that image, you can see there's a table of contents, and that table of contents is specific to one single module, and there were multiple modules created, which broke all of the content down into manageable topics. The learning content was text-based as well as video-based, and it involved learners interacting directly with the module to advance the course, which again helped them keep engaged. To allow students to practice their newly learned skills, software simulations were incorporated to allow that hands-on, step-by-step practice. And a key benefit to software simulations for database training is that it eliminates having to create that training database instance for all your users and also resetting them every time you needed to go through it a second time. Simulations look like the real environment, and they enable you to control how you move through the practice and learn the process. And finally, the last aspect to the Generac solution is that they wanted to have quizzing to verify that their users were actually learning the content. So we incorporated multiple types of quiz questions into the modules, and they were all presented to the students once they went through all of the content. So in the end, all of this source content was delivered to Generac, and they were able to use this content directly in their own internal learning management system, which enabled them to track their users' progress through the training content.